Hi there, everybody. It's Fred Thomas, and you are watching Rideable TV, the home of all things bike, frame and wheel, and AD bikes. And this is part 2 of our series that investigates who are the sponsors of the UCI World Tour professional cycling teams. So let's dive right in. We have EF Education Nippo. This is and Education First is a nonprofit international education company. They originally based in Sweden, now they're based in Switzerland, and they provide English language training for students all over the world, and a lot of other educational programs. It's a large company, and they're doing great work. It's a nonprofit, and they are the title sponsor of the team. The second sponsor is Nippo. It's a Japan-based company that designs, builds, and paves highways. So it's not necessarily directed at consumers, but it's related to roads, and maybe they have a specialty in velodromes. And they are one of the sponsors of the team as well. I think these sponsors get a lot of recognition in Asia and Europe. The global audience, I didn't know, I have to say, exactly what these two organizations did. Education First sounded very much like, an exhortation, sort of like safety first. So I sort of understood the significance of education being important. But they have certainly raised their profile over the years with their team. They ride Cannondales, and if you were to think of a US-based comparable, it would be CIEE Granite Construction. The next team is Groupama FDJ. I had no idea who Groupama was. We always see them in the Tour de France, the Groupama squad is moving to the front. But it turns out it's a French insurance company. And FDJ, total mystery, I had no idea. It turns out it's the National Lottery of France. Who knew? I think these companies definitely get a lot of recognition in France, and all the French sponsors, they're all primarily in financial services, and I think that's where they got to be. They know that a lot of people in France are watching, and financial services is very competitive. So, I can see why they're doing it. I think why they're doing it, my guess was that by sponsoring, by having a lottery involved, it helps direct people away, maybe from the gambling or the temptation of gambling on the race. I don't know. Otherwise, someone will have to tell me. The team rides La Pierre, a French brand, and if it were a U.S. team, it might be called State Farm Powerball. Ineos Grenadiers. Well, we all know who they are. It's a high-profile team. I didn't know what an Ineos was. It turns out it is a British petrochemicals conglomerate founded by Sir James Ratcliffe, and it's a huge company, probably with operations all over the world. It turns out that a Grenadier, one of their divisions is automobiles, and Ineos Automotive is developing the Grenadier, which is a combustion engine SUV off-road utility vehicle, sort of like a Land Rover. I'm sure Sir Ratcliffe is enraged by me using that comparison. Sorry about that, but that is what it is. It's actually a vehicle. I thought it was some sort of reference to the British infantrymen who used grenades back in the 19th century. Anyway, they're getting a lot of recognition just because it's a very high-profile team. The team is riding a Pinarello, and if it had a U.S. equivalent, it might be called DuPont Devil Motors. You'll have to look up Devil Motors. It's a same kind of concept car idea. Intermarché Wanty Gobert Matériaux there's a lot going on in there. They got a lot of sponsors. Intermarché is a French supermarket chain. It's probably very well known in France, not so much outside of France. Wanty is a Belgian engineering firm, and Gobert Matériaux is a Belgian building material supplier. So, very focused market, France and Belgium, supermarkets, I'm sure that France and Belgian consumers know these names. Global audiences, I thought of candy bars. Awanti is something like a candy bar brand. I had no idea. The Riding Cube, those bikes with the day glow, yellow, high vis on the jerseys. And if there was a US equivalent, it might be called Walmart, Bechtel, Home Depot. I don't know how you fit all that on the jersey, but there's always a way. And Israel Startup Nation, the sponsor of that is actually the Israel Cycling Academy, which is an Israeli nonprofit cycling education organization. They are doing great work in sort of youth programs, getting kids, at-risk youth to pick up and discover cycling and learn how to repair bikes and also learn how to train and race and all this. So it's not just producing teams to win races. It has a whole sort of social youth program to it, and they're making a difference. I think they've got a lot of recognition globally. I think initially I thought it was an academy like the institutions you have in Vermont and Florida, where kids go and they take classes in the morning in Vermont, and then they ski all day, and then same thing in tennis. They just take classes in the morning and play tennis all day, all weekend. It's not quite like that. Slightly different. They ride Factor, and if there were a U.S. equivalent, it would be sponsored by the CCB Cycling Education Foundation, which is also a really great nonprofit organization. It's run by Tim Mitchell of Ashton, Massachusetts, a former world champion masters cyclist, the fastest time trialist in this region. And he set up this program that allows U23 men and women to race at the highest level possible in Europe and in the US, both road, gravel, I don't know about mountain bike, maybe. But it allows them to do all this without dropping out of school. They all stay in school. All the racing that happens, it happens when school's out, and he gets them all over the world to race. They just came back from racing in Italy, doing incredible things. They were down at the U.S. Nationals. These guys, who go through this program, they're getting a taste of real high-level competition. They're not sacrificing education. And if they want to make the leap, they've got a chance, but they will still have their education under their belt. So that's part 2. You can see the previous presentation on the playlist. We're going to be talking more with you soon.